Bro, good to have you back. I'm glad you're feeling a lot better.
Yeah, guys, don't get bit by ticks, guys. Ticks are bad.
Ticks are bad. So when you stepped away, bro, we were down by 6 points,
Yeah, dude.
and you got pretty sick. So we ended up winning the game by 11. So
Yeah.
thank you for getting sick. I feel bad for you, but you definitely influenced that one.
I'm going to keep on getting sick throughout this season, guys, because obviously that worked there. So that was on purpose.
But before you walked away, before we don't need to involve everybody else with what you told me about it. But before you walked away, we kept saying like we're gonna win this game.
Yep.
Now, we were saying the same thing against the Kings, so it can't be like we're 100%, but it just felt like we were hanging around too much. No team is able to create separation, and we're a team that likes to finish from behind.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when we finish from behind, we always give a good slap on the ass because to me, like, this is exactly what happened here is the Suns had us down in, the first three quarters. They were controlling us. They're making us known that, they're the big boys of the West. And then in that fourth quarter, it was the light switch, the moment that we recognized that our defense was killer. I mean, like, that's what's crazy about it is that for three quarters, we're sticking with them. And last year, this would have been a 20-point game going into that fourth quarter. So the fact is that like seeing how much this team has learned in a short amount of time and how to clean up that game right there was crazy. This is the first win against the West, Mark, and that's pretty baller to be able to say we beat the Suns like that.
And one thing we need to make sure we always celebrate is anytime we beat KD.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to be in the league for way too much longer. So every time we get one of these wins with a younger team where he's off trying to win a championship and we're doing it the right way, it's extra special, bro. We should party that shit.
I mean, you're absolutely right, though. Like the thing, though, that we want to get down to the basics of what happened in this game last night, though. Right?
All right,
Let's just get down. KD played outstanding. He was pretty much a difference maker in the whole game. But the first quarter, man, when we started the game, we were going to Chet every single possession. It felt like.
And I think that was just like the offensive flow. The players were finding him. I know coach is talking to him, but there wasn't plays called for him.
No, but it's not necessarily about the play calling. It's about when you're going down and actively looking for that that player, that positional player. That's the moment that you realize that something's going on. And you can say whatever you want, Mark, about them not drawing plays up about it. Yeah. What is happening is Chet is listening to the coaches and where to go.
Right.
And recognize that Shai and Dort and Josh and J-Dub are all going to be looking at that spot. Right. He's picked that up. I mean, like, that's not something a lot of rookies understand. And last night, again, he shot incredibly effective, like 50% from field goal, 50% from 3-point line. Like, this is exactly what we're seeing from Chet. And it's making it so that the lane opened up for J-Dub after that. And yes, Chet got in trouble, but once J-Dub got on a run, it was hard for the Suns to stop him. And I have to say that was all due to Chet and how Chet was playing the way that they were, what they were giving, because Chet was taking those threes in the beginning. He was taking, getting to the lane. He was driving to the hoop. He was getting alley-oops. Like, he was doing all this stuff to set the tone early on, and set the tone, often too. So his 18.6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 blocks to me is a staple of what this team is going to get every single game with Chet.
Well, what you said there kind of brought me back to something that our friend John Stockton told us at his gym in Spokane, Washington. We asked him about what it was like to play with the dream team, and he was like, spacing was perfect. And every time, without even looking, you just think somebody should cut back door, and you'd have Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley cutting back door. Somebody should do this. Somebody should set a screen here. And there were players who were always doing the right thing without anybody having to tell them. And I think that's what we're seeing with the Thunder. I think the high end of this team, we have trouble like where does this team fit in the NBA? And we're like, obviously, we think we could be the best team in the NBA for quite a while. But the Dream Team is a team that is consistently called the greatest team ever assembled. And I see a team that we have now that our peak could play with the Dream Team. Now, it's not going to be this year, but in 3 years, when all these guys are entering their prime or at their prime, this team could fucking beat the Dream Team.
Well, and I think that you have something there that needs to be looked at, but this is a team right now that we've got that is pretty impressive. If you look at the way that we're built, and it's kind of like the mirror image of the Boston Celtics. If you think about that, the Boston Celtics are all about forwards. They've got Jaylen Brown and Tatum. They're at their forwards, and then they've got Kristaps Porzingis, right? They've got a good point guard there, a veteran point guard and leader there. But the reality is that that team right there is very much like what the Oklahoma State Thunder have in the aspect of J-Dub, a point guard slash guard, Shai, a point guard slash guard, and then we have Chet there in our middle, which to me, I'm looking at this and just seeing how the Celtics were able to get better and the young coach that they had early on. I look at this team and I say that this is the year that, we've been saying that for a while, so it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, but this is the year that the Oklahoma City Thunder is letting everybody in the NBA know they're here. And whether that's a 50-win season or a 43-win season, it doesn't matter, because everybody else is going to be on board after this season. And I think as a Thunder fan, I don't really care about other fans out there that like the Thunder or not, but it's the recognition of what's happening this season. And if you look at Chet, just phenomenal. I mean, people that are willing to say that Victor is a better player than Chet right now. To me, it's not fair to even compare, because Chet's 2 years older. Technically, Chet is a rookie that's a redshirt. So it's not fair to compare Chet versus Victor, because it's not even. So it's not even close to being even. Chet's such a better player right now in every aspect of the game. So with that being said, is that I feel like this team is going in the right direction. Chet stays healthy. We watched last night what happens when this team locks down on the defensive end. We had, I think, 6 turnovers in the first 3 quarters, Mark, or I think 6 turnovers by halftime, and we only had 1 turnover in the second half. So this team's getting it. They're understanding it. Like last year, what was our best attribute of all the things that we did? I think we did single digit turnovers in so many games. And that's what we need to get back to. It's the biggest issue that we're having this season. If you look at our losses, they're all high double digit turnovers, 17, 18, 19. And that's not what this team's all about. We take care of the ball, and we take care of the ball and put it in good positions for people to score. High efficiency. I think that's what we are about at this team. And it's great to be able to see in a game like this where it all clicked. The defense clicked, the offense clicked. And keeping the Suns under 90 or 100 points is a big deal because of all the scores that they have on this team.
I mean, it was a hell of a win. Just gaining momentum as the game went on, and then just being able to put them away. The game was over. The game was over when crunch time was entered, and the level of play by J-Dub, start to finish. I think hands down it was his best game he played in the NBA. Now, I know he's had other games where he scored 30, but I can't really remember them being in this type of situation, right? Like, back and forth, we're down all game. Like, we needed all 30. We won by 11, so it's easy to be like, oh, well, we didn't. But, no, we were on the verge of not being in the game at different points throughout the game. But then J-Dub, Shai, Chet, Giddy, 10 assists and 10 points. Okay. This is a trick question, Dave. Would you rather somebody who averages 2 assists and 25 points, or 10 assists and 10 points? For our team.
Obviously, it's 10 points, 10 assists on this Oklahoma State Thunder team.
Well, just do the math. That's a minimum of 30 points, whereas the 25 and 2 is 29 points. But look at 1 point better. But on top of that, some of those could be threes. On top of that, go ahead.
Yeah, dude, you're right though. But if you look at the way our offense is designed, what I call a stale possession is the worst type of possession. And if you look at Shai had 4 assists, Chet had 4 assists, Josh had 10 assists, and that right there in the top 3 players, what I would consider sharing the ball with Chet is just a phenomenal passer, and Shai is a phenomenal passer, and Josh is a phenomenal passer. J-Dub is as well. Don't get me wrong, but J-Dub was focusing on scoring last night. And that's what I want from J-Dub. There needs to be a selfish act when it gets late in the shot clock. And J-Dub was that guy that we were leaning towards last night. And he just really just did an amazing job. He only missed 5 shots on the night, guys. Got to the foul line 8 times, or shot 8 foul shots. That's what we need from a guy like this. Be selfish when you need to be. He had 2 steals as well, J-Dub. But it gets back to sharing the ball, man. The assist on how we're trying to play this game is the key. I said it before the game that we needed to end the game with someplace between 25 and 29 assists. We ended the game with 23 assists, but that is the highest efficiency of this offense is when we're getting to 25 assists in the game, because that means the ball is touching someone's hand and 3 seconds later it's leaving. And if that's how it is, that's what we're being effective and efficient with. I mean, look at our efficiency numbers last night. We almost shot 50% from field goal range, right? 48.8, right? That's almost 49%. That's close enough to 50. We'll just call it a 50% night. And then we shot 37% from 3-point range, man. Like that right there, again, another incredibly efficient number. It's not what we like at the 40% line, but 37 is still high enough to, tap your head and say, hey, we got this, right? And it goes back to when these teams and understanding where the NBA is going and how Sam Presti drafted these players, efficiency is king. No longer are we going to have players like Michael, Kobe, these guys are going to jack up 40 shots in the game. Allen Iverson, they're going to jack up 40 shots in the game just to get to 30 points. Harden, like this is so far past that. And last night, Shai, 22 shots, 35 points, and J-Dub, 31 points on 16 shots. I mean, That's what? Come on, that's unheard of.
But let's face it, like what really won us the game down the stretch was critical stops, critical defensive plays. I'm thinking of one in particular where Eubanks has just he torched us, bro. Like I don't know how many points he had, how many rebounds, but there were times where he was just absolutely,
15 and 5.
How many?
15 and 5.
All right, so but like his rebounds, I bet most of them were offensive. Which those
four offensive, yep.
And those those ones leave an impact. They make you feel some kind of way, right? And so there was a play where Eubanks gets an offensive rebound and he goes up for a dunk, and Wiggins blocks the dunk. The only time we really gave Eubanks any resistance at the rim, we're sitting there. I think we were down by 1, and there's probably 90 seconds or 2 minutes left, and he gets this block, and we're going the other way, and we get a bucket. And I think it was an and one. And critical stops, like the right players making the right plays at the right time, is really what the hallmark of the game was. And I find it really fascinating that that's Wiggins in that spot. That it's these young good bets who are by Presti and by Coach Dagnall investments like that are eating the broccoli out there, and good things are happening. Wiggins hasn't seen a ton of minutes, but last year there was a streak where when he started, great things happened. Who cares about the streak? Who cares about starting? When he plays, good things happen.
Yeah, and this team, even though they didn't have whatever the guy, I can't remember his name.
Yeah,
Booker, thank you. Even though they didn't have Booker, they're still a pretty good team. And I feel like Beal got shut down. But just a combination of Dort and J-Dub just doing a phenomenal job. He threw Casey Wallace once in a while on him. You saw Dort play on KD a lot.
I was going to say that too. We saw that same group play every single guy.
Yeah, and I think that's a key to how this team plays defense is that Coach recognizes that there's certain guys that wear you down certain ways, and he just rotates these guys with substitutions and just making sure that they get rest, because the fourth quarter is going to matter. And you saw that right off the bat in the fourth quarter. KD missed 11 shots, and so did Beal. And I want to say 7 of those shots that were missed, that are 11 of these guys, or 7 of the 22 shots between these guys were missed in the fourth quarter. That's because they're tired. They're exhausted. When you put, Dort on you, that's super physical and just consistently in your neck. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know is you switched up and put J-Dub, who's physical and can play off of you because he makes it difficult to shoot. And then you mix it up and then you throw Casey Wallace in there. Then you mix it up and you throw Josh Giddey in there. And that's the thing about this defense is that it's there's no breaks in it. It just keeps on going and going and going. And I have to say, man, when you see it like this and you're saying this team really understood, our bench was horrible last night. Like, that's with all due respect for our bench. Coach D even saw it because he really put a lot of minutes on our starters, 30 plus minutes for every single starter. But everybody off the bench, I mean, we only got 8 points off of our bench unit, which is not good for these guys. And a lot of that has to do with who's playing and who's not right now. Micic isn't playing. Trey Mann could have been useful last game to throw some points up there. He's not playing. But again, I'm not hating these decisions. I am actually applauding the decisions by coach because he's showing you guys who's playing and who's going to take the minutes for the most of the season. And that's the key right now, is that the game plan that we're seeing right now is by far the best game plan in the NBA early in the season. And the Thunder look phenomenal right now.
Yeah, coach has a spot right now, and he's not. In the past, he had a couple of spots for players like this, but this year, there's one spot for a Wiggins or a Waters to play down the stretch. And he's not going to go with both at the same time. It's going to be one or the other. I think
What's up,
Kenny
Wash?
Hustle has a chance to be in the mix of that. I think there's plenty of other guys who will get minutes, down that Hustle spot. But at this point,
Kenny Hustle, bro, he's really our sixth man. And the reason that he's our sixth man and the guy that's going to take a lot of the minutes when he comes back is because he plays 1 through 5. And he's so good and efficient at that. Having a guy like that on the court is always going to be useful. I think it's hurting that we're not having him. I think especially against these West teams where we're playing against very physical teams, very hard teams, and having somebody like Kenny out there is going to demand other teams be less physical with us because Kenny doesn't put up with shit. And it goes back to last night watching Grayson Allen. I fucking hate that dude, by the way. Seriously hate Grayson Allen. Unlike Draymond Green, Grayson Allen's going to continue hurting people in the NBA. Draymond Green doesn't hurt them, but he punches them in the balls. But Grayson Allen, dude, he's fucking dirty as shit. But you need an enforcer on your team. And whether or not you like Grayson Allen, that's up to you. But for me, I don't like him. And it reminds me why it's important to have an enforcer that's clean on your team, that understands how to keep shit clean and not get it to a bad level, like Grayson does. So, again, Kenny Hustle is that perfect person that we need back in the game that will make a difference in winning some games. And again, last night, hell of a job by these guys keeping track of the ball. All the starters, the starters had 6 of our 7 turnovers. So for me, that's a big thing right there, for the bench to be able to come in, even though they weren't putting up points up on the board, but they were keeping control of the ball. I think the only time there was a turnover was when Jay Will got a charge or gave a charge out, went down to the hole pretty hard. So to me, this is exactly what this team needs to have, is a bench that at least takes care of the ball if they're not going to score.
Yeah, dude. So Spurs are up next, bro.
Yeah, dude. 7:30 tomorrow night. TNT, motherfuckers.
Get ready for it, man. It's gonna be off the hook.
No doubt. Anything else, man, we got to put out there for these people?
Man. I appreciate everybody partying their asses off with me last night. And Dave, I'm looking forward to watching the rest of the game with you coming up because I kicked my ass, dude. So.
All right, dude. Well, next time I won't get sick.
Yeah, that'd help.
All right, man. You guys take it easy. We'll be back tomorrow night, and we'll looking forward to watching.
Shout out, Vic. Appreciate you.
All right,
giving us a shout on your podcast, man. That was fun.
Yeah, dude. No doubt, dude. And Wash and Kevin, Sam, appreciate you guys.